welcome back to another episode of the Cover 2 podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lawson Turner, and we officially have an NBA champion, which means the NBA season is over. The Boston Celtics, who were the best team all year in the regular season, they kept off their amazing season with a NBA title, which let's get this out of the way. They proved me wrong. They proved me wrong. I underestimated how strong their starting five was. Like, we all knew they were arguably, if not the best starting five throughout the entire regular season. You could argue Boston, you could argue Denver, but when it came down to it, they are a fantastically built team. You look at they have their hierarchy, and everyone on their team has their role. Tatum, star, superstar. Jaylen Brown, superstar. Porzingis. Now, even though Porzingis missed a lot of their postseason run and a good chunk of the finals, I thought that overall he was like not their key player due to him being hurt, but going back to roles, when they traded for Porzingis, they're like, okay, he has the potential to unlock our offense. You don't normally see a 7'2", 7'3" guy that can just spot it from 28 feet. You know, Drew Holiday, fantastic defender. Derek White, 3-and-D guy, a glue guy, someone who, there were a handful of before we get to game 5. Before we get to game 5, it amazed me when how easily Boston kind of dismantled Dallas's offense, because I thought that Luka was going to average, 35 plus, and that would be what got them over the hump, because when you look, Boston only averaged 106 points per game through these finals, but they locked Dallas down. They flat out. There were, you know, big stretches in these finals in which it looked like Dallas is just playing 1-on-5, whether it be Luka or Kyrie. Boston, they shoot the three ball good enough because they're a high volume 3-point shooting team. They smother you defensively. They have good rim protectors. They have good wing and perimeter defenders. Now to dive into Game 5 before I give like any long-term thoughts. Jaylen Brown was named Finals MVP. I thought it was well deserved. Tatum, I thought played his best game in Game 5. 31 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. I thought he did a fantastic job of, once again, his shot was not going down in Game 5, but he was being a fantastic, by the definition, he was a floor general in Game 5. He was control. He was, we know he's a good rebounder, rebounding the ball great and assisting the ball fantastically, and he even chipped in 31 points, which is, it's great to, it's difficult, I should say, to score 30 in an NBA Finals game. Jaylen Brown played a okay game on offense. Well, okay game on offense is very subpar. He shot terribly. He was 7 for 23, 2 for 9 from 3. But overall, he played a good game. 21 points, 8 rebounds, also chipped in 6 assists. But he's been the primary defender on Luka, which is that's a big chunk, and it's going to take a lot of you on the defensive end to try and contain Luka to whatever you hold him to. And I thought throughout the entire finals, Jaylen Brown was the best at guarding Luka Doncic. Drew Holiday, 11 rebounds and 15 points, 4 of those being offensive rebounds. The rebounds. Let's dive into the first, big thing. Dallas got crushed on the glass, 51-35. Boston had 15 offensive rebounds that led to 11 second chance points. Dallas had 7 offensive rebounds that led to 6 second chance points. It looked like every time Boston would shoot a 3, there was 3 Celtics in the area hustling for it. I saw many times where Drew Holiday would just glide in and just, it's almost essentially a rise over every, Dallas player in the area and just take it down and bring it down, It's, you could tell in Game 5 how tired the Mavs were, and it's been a hell of a they had a hell of a season and a hell of a run in the postseason, but they just ran into the better team, and there's nothing. Dallas shouldn't hang their head, I should say. Like this is it's their first finals since 2011. It's their, they had a good bounce back year after missing the entire postseason last year after making the Kyrie Irving trade. Now, speaking of Kyrie, I thought he in Boston he was terrible, and in Game 5 it showed once again. 15 points. Now, 9 assists is good for Kyrie, but he shot, terribly. 5 of 16, 3 for 9 from 3. It's now to go over some of the notes and things that I noticed. Porzingis checked in at the 5:11 mark. Well, after 5 minutes and 11 seconds have gone by in the first quarter, Porzingis comes off the bench. And Dallas immediately, okay, Porzingis, whoever you're guarding comes at a screen. We're going to get you in the action. And they went after him every single time down the floor. And it was a 1-point game towards the tail end of the first quarter. And then Boston goes on a 9-0 run. And then they're up 10 after the first. And that was essentially all she wrote. I thought that Boston their game plan was so. I tip my cap. I tip my cap. It was fantastic. They were swarming on defense. Their hustle, they out hustled Dallas, in which they showed good, not I wouldn't say grit, but they bounced back from the Game 4 catastrophe that happened in Dallas to win on their home court. The Mavs, to me, they just couldn't seem to get out of their own way. Like they would cut it to about because Boston's biggest lead in this game was 26. They'd cut it to around 16, 19 points, and then Boston 6-2 run, and it's just like that. And the lead just keeps growing. They were raining threes throughout the entire game, and Peyton Pritchard, for as much as it amazes me as to how effective he is in Boston's system. Now, in the finals, we saw his minutes go down drastically, but they put him in at the end of the first half, and he smacks a half-court buzzer beater shot that extends the lead to 21 at half. And at the half, Derrick Jones was the Mavs' leading scorer with 10 points. And I was shocked as to how lethargic Luka and Kyrie came out. Josh Green was keeping him in it close with, hitting some threes in the first quarter. But when Boston, when they decide no mas, no more points, everything's going to be tough, and we're going to get everything out on the break, that's what they did. They hunkered down defensively, they controlled the glass, and they got out on the break and scored essentially at will. They got, like I mentioned earlier, the Mavs got destroyed on the glass. And in the fourth quarter, both teams just looked gassed, but it wasn't meant to be for Dallas this year. Luka went the first 3 quarters and 3 minutes into the fourth quarter without hitting a three, and he had missed his last 15 3-pointers before he made his first one just under the 9-minute mark in the fourth quarter. Now, did he take 15 this game? No, but he didn't make one in Game 4, and he missed his first 7 in Game 5. And not saying Luka needs to come out and hit 4 or 5 threes a game, but we've seen him in the postseason do that. Now maybe it's his injury, maybe it's tired, and he's going up against Jaylen Brown, a fantastic super athlete, and it's just tough for Luka. And every three the Mavs would hit that would kind of spark a little bit of momentum, Boston would just come down, hit another three, and then it's like, well, shit, Now thinking big picture here, Boston is because Jason Tatum said, after the game, what are they gonna say now? As vice president of the or president of the I don't like Jason Tatum club, I tip my cap. You played a fantastic series. You played a fantastic game 5. and 3. Um, I want to see if you can tap into the next level because there, wherever you have Jason Tatum in your top 10 and he's a top 10 player, I'm not taking anything away from that. He's not 1, 2, 3, or 4. Best case scenario, he's 5 or 6, and I have him around 8, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to see if you can go, now. Excuse me. I want to see what you do next season. Can you lead Boston to back-to-back? Is this just a one-off championship like the '08 Celtics? Are you gonna, officially put your name in the MVP hat? Like, what's the next jump? Because he's already a fantastic player. But is there another gear? Is there another level that you can go and compete with, Luka or Jokic or Giannis or in the regular season Joel Embiid when he plays, or Shea or Anthony Edwards? I expect all of those players to either stay the same or go up even a little, an extra gear. Tatum, I want to see, can you do it? You've already had your fantastic statistical seasons in the past, and he was fantastic last season. But I want to see, can he jump any of the players that I named? Can he jump ahead of Shea or say, okay, Anthony Edwards is coming, but I'm gonna hold him off? Can he, jump ahead of, Joel? And obviously, when Joel plays, it's a real discussion. Now, when the postseason comes, it's not because he's proven now lead it. He can lead a team to the finals. Well, not lead, but he can be a key contributor when it comes to the finals, and a team led by Jason Tatum can win the finals. And Joel hasn't even made the third round yet. Because I assume he will eventually, hopefully. Um, my last point that I want to get to is Dallas. I think that they're right there in the sense of your ceiling is right here. Luka, I need you to get right here. And it's not that you didn't have a good season, because you had a fantastic season and you were arguably the MVP. Fantastic. Can you get in better shape? Can you... What's the word I want to use? Because him and Kyrie, I thought that, not that it would be a disaster, but I didn't see how their styles of play would work. Two ball dominant players need the ball to work. But I think this Dallas team, like, they have length, they have two good centers, they have your bona fide superstar, they have a co-star in Kyrie. Like, what's Dallas's move? Do they try and, what do they try and do come this off season? Do they try and draft Bronny in the second round and then try and, swindle LeBron to come? That'd be crazy. And me as a LeBron fan, I don't know how I would feel about it, cause that would mean, not that it'd mean LeBron is just ring chasing at this point in his career, but it wouldn't, like, the media would not like it at all. Wouldn't like it at all. Like, you'd go join up with Luka and Kyrie. Now, LeBron's a free agent. Well, he has a player option that we assume is going to decline and be a free agent. But let's keep it at these two teams, Boston and Dallas. Overall, I thought it was a good series. Like, games 1, blowout. Game 4, blowout. Games 2, 3, and even game 5, like, even though they won by 18, it didn't feel like a blowout. For, like, there was obviously there were stretches, and because Dallas never led this in the entire game 5, never led, and Boston's biggest lead was 26. I feel as if Dallas has another gear to get to that we now see this is Boston's ceiling. Championship. Champions. 64 wins in the regular season. I think that now obviously the West is going to be better, but I think Dallas needs another, not a star, but they just need a key role player, like a what's a good player that I could think of off the top of my head. You know what? Let's actually look. Who are some of the free agents in the NBA? Now, this is before looking at salary caps and all that stuff. This is just off the top of my head. It'd be interesting if they could try and go get Paul George. That would be nuts. Now, I saw Joel because he was on the pregame of Game 4, like kind of eyeing up Paul George. Like it'd be great if we could add a piece and look at him. But that's just the first name that jumps out to mind. It was just, well, who wouldn't want a player of Paul George's caliber? 6'8", 6'9" wing, can handle the ball, defend on both, can defend and score essentially at will. Well, I'm getting too sidetracked, so that's all I have for you guys in this episode of the Cover 2 podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at the Cover 2 Pod 26 to interact with us and stay up to date with the show. And thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm Lawson Turner for the Cover 2 podcast, and I'll talk to you guys at the next one. Peace.